About Therapy.
Hello, and welcome back to the What About Therapy podcast. My name is Ben, and I'm currently studying to be a licensed marriage and family therapist. And I have been in school for less than a year. So I'm not the smartest of chaps, but today I want to talk about depression and social media, the hidden connection. So today we're going to talk a lot about how social media can make depression worse. And I also want to talk about a couple of ways that we can use social media to protect our mental health. So I'm not just going to be talking about how social media is terrible and how we should never, view anything on social media, because there are some good things that come with it for sure. But one statistic that really caught my mind is that social media use has been linked to a 66% higher risk of depression in teens. And it's not just teenagers, it's adults as well. So everyone. First, I want to talk about 3 things that can relate to making our depression worse, or giving you temporary depression that's linked with social media. The first thing is social comparison and low self-esteem. And the second one is increased loneliness and isolation. And the third is exposure to negative content and doom scrolling, which is huge right now. So first, studies show that excessive social media use leads to increased social comparison, which can also lower self-esteem. A study published in Cyber Psychology, Behavior and Social Networking found that passive Facebook use, or like scrolling without interaction, was linked to lower life satisfaction. And so an example of this is like seeing highly curated posts of others, of other people's success, and how that can make us feel inadequate about our own lives. Oftentimes we get a false perception of, what life should be, because all we see is these perfect people on social media. And it's not just about comparing yourself to others, but social media also plays a major role in isolation. So while social media is designed to connect us, it often leads to loneliness, which is the second point here that I want to talk about. This is definitely a huge one that I have felt in especially high school with social media. And I'm sure, all of you guys have felt that as well. A University of Pennsylvania study found that limiting social media use to 30 minutes a day significantly reduced feelings of loneliness and depression, which is crazy. And people who spend hours online may neglect real-life relationships, leading to a deeper sense of isolation. And so it's just kind of like a never-ending rabbit hole that you get yourself in. The more you spend time on social media, which we'll kind of talk about in the next point. But I have definitely tried to put like a time limit on social media. And you can even do like social media cleanses. For example, a couple weeks ago, I deleted Instagram and also Facebook. I don't really know why I had Facebook, but I deleted social media. And I went like a couple weeks without it. I did have YouTube, and I watched maybe like 2 or 3 videos a day, but definitely wasn't as much as I was watching. Excuse me. And I saw super good results from doing this. I felt more joy in the little things, like watching the sunrise or making my bed, instead of spending countless time on social media. And so the third point I want to get into is the exposure that we can get to negative content and doom scrolling, which is a huge problem right now. Constant exposure to negative news, unrealistic beauty standards, and cyberbullying can worsen mental health. And a study in JAMA Psychiatry, I think I'm saying that right, found a correlation between social media exposure to negative content and higher depressive symptoms in young adults. And so, going back to the first fact about the teenagers and how social media can, in fact, make you depressed, a lot of it comes to doom scrolling and just seeing all of this negative information on our phones. And this is something that I have definitely been a victim to, and I'm sure most of us have. And sometimes I realize I'm doom scrolling, but I just keep scrolling and keep scrolling because we get a little bit of dopamine with each video and with thinking, what's next? And so our brain wants to keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling because it's curious. And this will lead to hours and hours on social media and take you away from real life. And then all of your expectations get shifted and you become sad. Now, there are some things that we can do to prevent this. I talked a little bit about setting time limits. That's a big one. Now, if you set maybe like a 30-minute time limit on Instagram and your 30 minutes is up, if you don't have anything to do, chances are you're just going to get around the timer and just keep doom scrolling. And so something that I have seen that helps a lot is having a good schedule, and knowing exactly what you're going to do after you're on social media. Maybe you have a 30-minute time limit and then in your schedule you have, an hour of homework or something a little bit more productive. Read a book. Even go play video games with your brother. Do something with someone or something positive for yourself. Another big thing that can help is kind of like cleansing your feed. And so if you've noticed the algorithm on Instagram and Facebook, it changes depending on what it thinks you're interested in. And so if all you're looking at is brain rot, Sigma male memes, then that's all that's going to be on your feed. Just a bunch of brain rot. And if you follow a bunch of, let's say, like motivational speeches and stuff like that, then your feed will change. And so you can actually benefit a lot by who you follow on social media. And so go through and maybe you might need to unfollow some accounts that have not been very positive to you and, find some accounts or profiles that you feel can inform you on more positive things, and then your algorithm, the algorithm will change, and so will your feed. Another thing you can do is prioritize real life connections. So make time for face-to-face interactions. Being present, doing actual things with your life. And use social media as a tool to enhance relationships, not just to replace them. Now, sometimes me and my brothers will send memes to each other on Instagram. And we love doing that. It's super funny, and it's a great way that we can kind of interact with each other through social media. But we definitely don't want to get in the habit to where that is our only interaction and we see each other just once a month. And so you need to set boundaries with yourself and try to shift your expectations a little bit. Social media isn't bad, but it can be. It can be really bad. And so if we use it for a more of a positive purpose and maybe less each day, you can see a big change in your mental health. And so we talked about how social comparison, loneliness, and negative content can make depression worse, but we also covered ways to take control of your social media habits for better mental health. And I want to call everyone to action. So if you found any of these insights helpful, you can share it with someone that needs to hear this, or maybe just, it's yourself that needs to hear it. And choose one of those things, whether it be like setting a time limit or cleansing your feed or taking a social media fast. Choose one of those things to do for, let's say, even just a week. And if nothing happens, if you feel like you're still just as sad, then keep doom scrolling. But I know that you will feel better if you try to do one of these things. And make sure that you recognize that social media isn't just bad, but it can be very helpful to you if you use it the right way. And like I said, share it with one of your friends, set a goal together, and follow up with each other. Keep each other accountable, even just after a week. And I know that by doing that, you'll see a big change in your mental health. It's not just going to fix your depression, but it will make it a lot more manageable. And thank you so much for listening. Make sure to share this episode with a friend. It will really help us out a lot. And we'll see you in the next one.
What about therapy? What about therapy? What about therapy? Yeah. What about therapy? What about therapy? What about therapy? Yeah. What about therapy? What about therapy? What about therapy? What about therapy? Yeah.